Hello, new and faithful listeners, and welcome to Remainders, the podcast dedicated to exploring the wonder and joy that is the movies. The old, the new, the remembered, and the ones that are sometimes forgotten. My name is Darren Burrell, and as we record this episode, it is June 11th, 2025. And before we begin, I would be remiss not to mention the passing of Brian Wilson earlier today. I suppose it's only fitting that we're covering a movie titled The Beach on the day we say goodbye to our beach boy. Brian's music is a favorite of this podcast and so many others in this world. I always watch Boogie Nights and get so excited for that terrific ending set to God Only Knows. There's so many magical and countless songs that bring us all to a place of joy, and we're going to miss him. So truly, truly original man. Thank you, Brian Wilson. Now, on to the podcast. Today, we're watching a film that made islands magical and kick-ass way before the show Lost came around. The Beach from the year 2000. The Beach stars Leonardo DiCaprio in a sequel to Titanic, where his character Jack Dawson apparently survived the frigid waters of the Atlantic Ocean and gets marooned to an island full of marijuana, where we watch him smoke the days away, swim with sharks, and slowly slip into madness in a sort of drug-induced Apocalypse Now dream. I'm joking, of course, but following Titanic, Leo made two films. There was the fantastic Woody Allen comedy Celebrity, where he had a small but mighty part, and a film I have yet to see, The Man in the Iron Mask. But to say Leo's popularity coming off Titanic and into the millennium was, well, Titanic, would be putting it mildly. The guy was truly the king of the world leading into The Beach. So, no pressure for Danny Boyle's island-obsessed adventure film or anything. Patrick, it's a sad day for sure, but I'm glad to be with you to talk movies, as always. Are you ready to dive headfirst into the mystical, magical, and medicinal waters of the beach?
I think you just summed it up pretty well, man. I can't top that. I did not put it together, The Beach Boy, and we're watching The Beach until right now. So I was texting
really?
about it early. I just wasn't on my mind, but yeah, just happened today. But serendipitous, I guess. So.
It must be the universe or something like that, because I was like, holy shit, how could we be covering a movie called The Beach on the day that Brian Wilson passes away?
Right. Yep, sad day. The man contributed so much to music, so, celebration of his life more than loss, so...
always a celebration. Yeah. And it's, I just think it's kind of interesting. So this podcast can act as sort of like a journal, of time. And so as we're in this moment, this is something that's happened in the world. I think all art is great that way. It's kind of like a little timestamp on the world whenever you make something. So it's good to mention it. And I've been influenced in so many ways. Of course, my song of the week, when we get to it later, is going to be a Beach Boys song. And just so much to celebrate today. I also know that you had, talked about have you never seen The Beach? Is this your first watch?
No, this is the first time seeing The Beach. Always was on my radar. I thought it was a different movie than what it turned out to be. But yeah, it's one I never got around to. I love Danny Boyle. So I was pretty excited to kind of fill in one of the blind spots on his filmography. So
yeah, isn't that cool? Like when you find out that this is a Danny Boyle film, I mean, it is a little off the radar as far as his filmography goes.
It feels more like a Leo movie than a Danny Boyle movie.
So. 100%. I think kind of more notable because of that. Like, again, putting yourself in a place and time, like this was like a starring role for Leonardo DiCaprio that everybody was so obsessed with at the time because of Titanic.
I mean, I guess I didn't realize this movie's like a huge deal because it was his first. I mean, you mentioned he was in Celebrity, but that's just like a cameo. But like this was like his first starring role after Titanic. So like,
I guess I never saw Man in the Iron Mask, but I was reading that was before this. So I don't know if that was a starring role or not.
Maybe. I thought this was the like his first starring role after Titanic. Either way, it's like one of his first big movies, maybe Man in the Iron Mask, and that's kind of one of the things that we'll talk about. So like my first reaction was this movie was good, but also like a little goofy in certain parts. And the more I've thought about it, I actually fucking love it because of like how many interesting aspects there are of it, including it being a time capsule of 2000. I think that's like one of my favorite things about it so far is that like this movie feels, sounds, and looks like a movie from 2000. Just everything about it is just like a time capsule from that era. So,
which is kind of interesting because again, it's like mostly takes place, on a beach where you don't really see material things based on the time period. But I think you're saying stylistically, but also when they are like kind of in, I think it's they go to like, I don't know, the town. I forget where that is again. But I think what is Thailand, right? It's in Thailand. And so when they're there, like you see a bunch of people partying and bros and everything. And of course, that's like the thing is like everybody wants to get away from that. But you do see like the shirts, like the fucked shirt with the American thing. And like we'll talk about it. But when that guy like is about to get shot and he's like, look at American, like that is like that shirt is straight out of the 2000s. And again, I think that this film, yes, I agree. It kind of can be goofy at times and stuff like that, but it was included in the Criterion Channel watch list as the coastal thriller section. And
so that was going to be one of my questions: is why this was on Criterion if it was part of a collection. So
and that's the thing with Criterion. I think they've like kind of like stopped worrying about it's like supposed to be like some kind of like upper echelon movie or supposed to be like so widely loved by cinephiles and people that are serious cinephiles. I think like having showgirls on there and different movies like just culturally huge movies that like either were laughed at the time but like now like maybe take a different look at, or like this movie, it's big for a lot of reasons, again just because of the placement in time, but it's also a Danny Boyle film and also like I said it, like, I don't think I've ever seen like the mystification or like the draw of like a private island, like in film like this. And I guess it sort of has to do more so about like wanting to get out of society and get like into a place where you can kind of self-sustain. And we'll talk about it, I know, but I don't know. It's kind of interesting to add that to the Criterion based on what I was just saying.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things there. I mean, the Criterion Channel is definitely a wide variety, and that's what I love about it. It's like they have their discs that they come out. That's part of the Criterion collection, but the streaming is far more like reaching and gives you a lot more variety of like why it's a movie that they suggest you watch, rather than it just being the high class art film that they put on the actual. That's
true disc. Too, because there's just so much more there than what's actually in the collection.
And this was great. I mean, we were talking about it. I mean, it was a big day when Freddy Got Fingered was put on the Criterion Channel. I know I watched it and I had a great time because that movie's a masterpiece. But
good. I'm glad you watched it. I missed it when it made its debut in the Criterion Channel.
Well, I saw it in theaters, so it was just a nice revisit on the Criterion Channel. So, but then, so maybe we could talk about just a little bit. So this is based on the book. And like you're saying, it's largely about a feeling of disconnect from modern culture. And so that's why they basically want to go to the beach, disconnect and kind of breaking away from modern culture, largely driven by technology. And then the solution is just go find a private hidden beach where you can have a self-sustaining community. So this book,
because you're the one on the podcast who reads as much as anybody I know. Have you never read the book?
No, but I was surprised. I didn't know it. So it's Alex Garland who wrote the book. Alex Garland would go on to like Civil War, Men, Annihilation. What's his biggest one? Ex Machina. So he wrote and directed all those. And so this is, he was doing scripts for a long time, but it was fun to realize that he was the writer of the original novel that it's based on. So, and I can see a lot of the influence on it. Like his themes, like I said, the disconnect from modern culture, driven by technology. That's a pretty well-known, like Alex Garland theme in his stories. So.
This film also ends up being a little meta, like, and we'll talk about it again. I know we're kind of jumping all over the place, but this film also like has like a little bit of that Apocalypse Now feel, where like a character kind of goes insane, but also
Carlisle goes full Apocalypse Now for sure. So
but then at the same time, like then DiCaprio kind of does, but they show DiCaprio watching Apocalypse Now, which is why I'm saying it's kind of meta in that way.
Oh, did he? I completely missed that then. Was
yeah,
that
like
at
at
the beginning?
some point they do show like the he might be at the beginning.
It had to be at the beginning. They
Like
don't have
one
any
of the
TV on the beach, so
right,
it had to
exactly.
be.
And
I didn't. See that. Okay, that's
yeah,
awesome.
that's what I'm saying. It's kind of meta that way, like where it's like they're basically showing the scene with them on the beach and saying like, you know, the surfing thing and the napalm in the morning stuff. I mean, I'm just saying like this whole film gets there. It goes there, you know, like where you kind of sink into
Yeah.
madness.
Right. Okay, maybe tie up what we were saying. So, yes, The Man in the Iron Mask came out technically right after Titanic, only a couple months after it. So, I guess that's what it is. Like, as in, The Man in the Iron Mask was probably already made or was being made even before Titanic came out. So,
I would imagine probably Titanic took a long time, you know,
Yeah.
to like do post production and everything. So yeah, probably Leo probably
But-
in between, right?
as in, The Beach was the first movie he made after Titanic becoming the biggest movie of all time.
Yeah.
I guess is the best way to put it. So like that was like his first like choice as an actor to follow up after the success
it's this
of
script,
Titanic.
you know. Yeah,
Right.
he's choosing it. Yeah,
And that's kind of one of the things I love about it. It's like, because this movie, even though it's like it's pretty successful, it's not entirely successful in everything it does, but it's far more ambitious of a movie than he could have like chosen.
I think also maybe a precursor to like movies like The Revenant, you know.
Yeah.
And knowing his history in nature and ecological things, you know, potentially this movie is being made as a kind of precursor to some of these outdoor movies that he ends up doing later in his career.
Yeah, that's a good point too. But yeah, I mean, just generally the fact that it was like more of a well thought out, ambitious kind of social commentary character study, as opposed to something, you know, like if you're just starring off of Titanic, it's like you literally could do any movie you want in the world. And so he
throw him
chose
into
something
like a romantic comedy or something like that.
So he chose something a little bit more thoughtful with Danny Boyle. So, I mean, that's kind of one of the things that a lot of people have like had a reappraisal of it for sure. So
I heard a awesome thing from Timothy Chalamet, and he said that
it's a great opening to a sentence.
I mean, this fucking guy is legit. There's no doubt about it.
Is he?
Dude, he is fucking legit. I'm telling you. Anyway, we don't have.
I mean, I've seen him on screen. I don't. Yeah.
I'm like sold after finally seeing what was that movie I told you I saw, and I was like, oh my god, him and Armie Hammer. Anyway, regardless.
Oh, Call Me by Your Name.
Yeah, Call Me by Your Name. I had never seen it. I saw it like this year at some point, and I'm just like super sold on him. And I get why everybody's sold on him. I think he's awesome. But he had something like a 60 Minutes like segment that he was on, and you know, promoting I think the Bob Dylan movie. And he said that he talked to DiCaprio, and DiCaprio said no superhero movies.
I do remember hearing that. No drugs and no superhero movies. Yeah,
no drugs is part of it too.
And it's good advice for an actor, so I love it. Yeah, we got off track from Leo.
No, I mean it's fine. Here, so for people that are listening, I imagine like you, if you're listening, you know, you've seen this film already, or potentially you haven't, or you've seen it and you wanted to come and see what people are saying about it. For us, I think I think you were both like lukewarm on it. It's okay. It's not this movie isn't like, you know, fantastic. And that's why I think in like the Leo filmography, it gets lost in the shuffle somewhere, you know? And it's also hard to follow up Titanic, you know, like what's the first movie he's going to do? He does this movie, and it's kind of, it's a weird one. You know, people are looking to see Jack Dawson again, you know, and that's not who you're getting in this. And yeah, I think it's worth a watch to see this film because I don't think it's a bad movie. It's entertaining and it's fun. Not necessarily fun, but it's like it's weird. It's like, you know, and also weird for Danny Boyle. It's not like but it's kind of got a little sometimes train spotting, like little things that come on in it, you know. So anyway, yeah, I mean, literally one of the characters in here is called Daffy. So
I don't. When they first called him that, it's Robert Carlyle who's going crazy at the beginning, and they call him that. I'm like, is that them? Just their stupid is that them saying he went Daffy, or was that actually his name? And it turns out that's actually his name. So
yeah,
it's a little on to know. So,
and Robert Carlyle is a frequent Danny Boyle collaborator. So it's always great to see him.
Every time Robert Carlyle is on screen, I love it. So, no, I mean, I 100% recommend this movie. You're right. Like, it's not anything like crazy special, well done. Like, I looked it up. It has like 150 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and it stands at 21%. So this movie's mostly like disliked in terms of like, at least the original like critical reviews. So you're definitely not alone if it's a movie you feel ambivalent about. But like I said, like watching it now for the first time, as somebody who was in like high school in the year 2000, like it's such an amazing time capsule of 2000. Like
a fun trip.
The music, like I said, everything we're talking about with Leo, it's like it is kind of crazy, like how famous he was back then with Titanic. You know, Titanic's amazing, but like he was certainly the catapulted star of it. Him making this after that. I mean, the music, like I said, there's a scene in an internet cafe in this movie, which is absolutely beautiful. I love seeing an internet cafe.
Like even the way that the photo comes up on the screen and how it kind of like just like loads. Oh man, fucking great.
I have to go to the place to get on the internet where they say all this information is. So, so that was great. I mean, it does look gorgeous, like the cinematography and everything on the beach and on the island. It looks, I mean, it's filmed beautifully. And again, we'll talk more about Danny Boyle, but like he is just like such a great director, even with his like weaknesses sometimes, which is just a little cringy, over the top stuff. It certainly doesn't come out in his best movies, but it does come out in some of his worst movies. There's still enough of it that I absolutely love about this movie. Like I said, like it has its falls, but it is a picturesque understanding of 2000 and the vibe. Like I said, it's not necessarily like anything in it that looks like 2000 because they're on the island the whole time, but like the yearning for like a disconnect from modern culture that was like straight out of 2000, because like when it was kind
of like The Village, you know, that's kind of the story of that, right? You know, it's kind of similar to that
for sure. I was actually, I mean, one thing I was thinking about was the vibe and the narration and just the tone and the want to get away from modern culture. It had similarities to Fight Club, which was a year before this. And so just kind of the tone, kind of just like the music, the narration, they just had a similar vibe to like that yearning from disconnect from modern culture.
Who was president around then? Was it a Republican?
Well, that was, I mean, George Bush starting.
Oh, okay.
Right in 2000, yeah.
That's interesting. That these movies would be made around that time, you know, like wanting to get away out of society.
Well, I mean, I think is more of, I mean, this is pre 9/11, so a completely different world than, you know, anybody's known for like the last 25 years. The 90s were, you know, we had it good. You didn't fully realize it, but there was still a desire for less consumer-driven, technology-driven culture. Like that was kind of the ennui from it.
Yeah, interesting to kind of place these films. You know, what was happening in 2000? What were the films that were happening, and then like what films were to come? Because like again, Danny Boyle. When did he do 28 Days Later? And Trainspotting would have been 98, right? So this is probably his first film, Danny Boyle's first film since Trainspotting.
Trainspotting 96, Life Less Ordinary 97, The Beach 2000, 28 Days Later 2002.
Okay,
nice little run there. Life Less Ordinary is not that great, but everything else is good there.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
It's all right.
All right. Well, you know, hey, it's a time capsule. It's a great movie. You should see it. It's really about a guy that is like an adventure seeker, but they don't really. That's the thing that is a little bit of the flaw of the movie. It's not like you really like love him. It's not like he's like some sort of like, you really care about him and why he's on his journey to like not be. It almost looks like the Luigi Mangione like guy, like, you know, that guy like was like kind of just like went wherever he went and like, you know, just kind of like sought adventures, but he wasn't really an adventure seeker for something. Like it's kind of like he's just there in Thailand, and then he meets this guy, and the guy says, "Hey, I got this map, and like, hey, you should check out this island." And for some reason, he decides to talk to the two people who are fucking in the room next door and say, "You guys, you should come to this island that I heard is pretty cool," And then they go, and then they do this kind of adventure to get there. But what happens before it, and then they meet these bros, and then like he shows them the it's also kind of convoluted. It's like, okay, that's going to come into play, that like he actually makes a map for these like drug bros, and that they come back, and then that's going to be a big problem for this character. It's a little bit of like hard to believe, like,
Yeah, I mean, I like that the character's a little bit of a weirdo. Like, I like that Leo's playing like not just like a straight charming dude who has everything together. He's a little off. He's not like.
Do you think he's playing that, or do you think it's just coming off in his like performance that way, or that it's written that way?
Like I said, I haven't read the book. I'm assuming it probably is in the book, but either way, I just like that. That's a little bit of the trait. Like I said, like this is a little bit different from a lot of his roles that he picked. I didn't really charming of it. So
I was gonna say I didn't really love Leo until about like The Revenant.
Yeah, I mean, Leo's always been a better movie star than an actor. He's a great actor, but like he's really good at being a movie star.
Well, because like I think even like shortly after this was like Blood Diamond, and I was like, okay, like and then even like
I remember being bored with Blood Diamond. I was this is like so generic of a movie.
Yeah, and I couldn't get my footing.
Yeah.
Even him like going up against Daniel Day-Lewis in Gangs of New York was not believable to me. I was like, I don't believe this accent. I don't like. He just looked like an asshole compared to like being. So maybe he would have been great, and I wouldn't have said that had he not been up against Daniel Day-Lewis. But the juxtaposition of the two characters, who could not be like, I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis was just fucking trouncing him in that film, So it took.
Granted, that's a tough feat to go up against.
Of course. Day-Lewis, so, but it took me a while to get on board with Leo. But I gotta say, like right now, of course, I am gigantically on board with him. I love him. I think he's incredible. I just saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in the cemetery the other day, and everybody was fucking cheering. It was amazing, dude. But like. He's still the biggest star, but at this time it was kind of like, okay, prove yourself kind of, because he did Titanic and everybody loved him. And it's kind of like, if this was the movie he was looking to do that with, like, I wasn't really sold on the acting. I thought it was okay. And then when you turn into this sort of like maniac, like, kind of Apocalypse Now character, like that was kind of like a little like laughable to me.
And it was also not really that believable as a character, just in general, because he went crazy really fast, and then he got better really fast. So
yeah, he's like, "Oh, remember me? It's just me. I'm the guy who you came to the beach with." It's like, okay, a nice flip of the switch, Like if you go fucking crazy, you don't flip that easily.
Right. So fun fact, not that I put any stock in the Razzies, but he was nominated for Worst Actor for this year. So for the Razzie Awards. So
this year? Oh, for
this,
beach. Okay,
the beach
gotcha.
in 2000. Yeah. So, like I said, the Razzies are like, half the time the awards they give are actually for actual fun stuff, but it was, just a thing. So there were people who were just like, he's not that great in this movie at the time. So
okay, so we're not alone. I mean, again,
yeah. 21% on Rotten Tomatoes. So you're definitely not alone if you don't care about this movie too much.
But that's
like I said,
as
a cultural time stone, I think that's the most interesting part about it for sure. So.
The reason to you out there and you're like, okay, if you guys don't like this film, like, why did you cover it or whatever? It's like, well, it's not that we even really knew too much about it, because I had seen it. Patrick had never seen it. And when I saw it back in the day, I barely remembered it. And that should be like a good sign about, what I remember the most about it before I did the rewatch is that shark attack scene, which is brutal. And so for everybody listening, okay, we're kind of jumping around, but here's like, that he is going to this island. He makes a map for these kids that kind of like take him in for a minute when he loses his key in Thailand. And then he goes, and then they swim. They have to swim to the island. And then the two people that he's with, this French couple, they fake like they're getting like a shark attack on the way there, which is like kind of precursor to an actual shark attack that happens. And that's like a joke. And Leo's kind of like, yeah, fuck you guys, gets on the island. And then they show up, and there's a rumor that it's like an island that's being cropped for like marijuana, and they show up and the first thing they see is like gigantic marijuana plants, which turn out to be guarded by these like, I don't know, guerrilla, like, I don't know, Thailand people who are like, you know, serious dudes who are like going to kill you. And Leo and these two people escape, and they get to like a point where they made it now to this colony of people who are on the island, who then take him in. And he has to swear that like nobody else knows about it, even though Leo was an asshole and gave somebody the map, like these three kind of bros back in Thailand. And so like there's a possibility that they might come to the island, but they probably won't, you know. And of course, right away, everything's great. You know, Leo's like adapting so well. He's killing fish in the water, and everybody's happy that they're there. And then now the French couple that they went with is like, the girl's sleeping with Leo, and we're like, okay, like, well, that's weird. And then things start to kind of turn a little bit. And yeah, you know, I think like up until this point, we're like having fun. It's like, okay, this is a cool place, but now things are about to start get serious.
Yeah, I mean, you got an island that's led by a young Tilda Swinton.
And here we go, Tilda Swinton, who fucking rules in this, by the way.
I was going to say, this is a great early role for her. Actually, I don't know how early. When did she start acting?
I don't know.
She got stuff back into the mid 80s, so. But she
definitely has a romantic scene with DiCaprio in this.
Yeah, I would assume this is one of her first big kind of budget. Yeah, it looks like it. I'm not recognizing much of her stuff earlier, but yeah, it was amazing to see her in this. And she's great in it. She's somehow like both menacing and charming is not the right word, but a believable leader in a soft kind of way. I don't know.
She does both.
It's just how amazing Tilda Swinton is. She's able to like straddle like these types of characters like that.
She also straddles Leonardo DiCaprio.
Some steamy French sex in there. So so it was awesome to see her. And yeah, she has the kind of let's say the community by the balls, just in terms of keeping it a secret. It seems to be her MO. And not just keeping it a secret, but also keeping harmony in a way that's like it's pretty telling. So like one of the guys does get the shark attack that you mentioned, and the solution is basically to like take him out of the community. Like the fact that he's like going to die, or that he's vulnerable now, that he can't survive. It's like, that's all threatening to the harmony of the community. I just thought that was like super telling. It wasn't like totally fleshed out, but it's the fact that like the harmony is like a facade, you know? So,
right. It's like, yeah, if you hear like if somebody had a baby and the baby was crying, they'd fucking maroon the baby. You know, they don't want anything to disrupt the peace and harmony that's there. And that was a pretty crazy scene. So to the audience listening, there's a big shark attack. These three guys who are out there like fishing, like they're fun loving people. You get introduced to them as like kind of jokesters, and they all get kind of bitten up by this shark attack that happens while fishing. And one guy dies, one guy's completely maimed, and Tilda Swinton is like, this is where, like you're saying, like she's willing to do anything to keep this community intact, and she doesn't want him to go to the town. Because like we have to keep our rules in place kind of thing. And this guy is now told, because he keeps on whining, because he's there's no medical help for him and he's dying, and they tell him go out into the woods, like, or the plants, and far away from here. And the entire community goes out there, including DiCaprio, except for the one French guy he's with. He stays with the guy who got bit, and everybody else says, fuck this, you're right. Like, it's kind of like going with the way, like, you know, the commander in chief there, you know?
Yeah. So it just shows how like fractured the community can be, and how like weak it actually is. Because if it's a little not little, but like if an issue like that can break a community, that's not really a strong community then. So I think that's just as far as it kind of goes with that. So
yeah.
Do you want to talk about Danny Boyle?
I'm sorry. I was gonna say one thing I read. It said it's criticized as a muddled adaptation that loses the book's themes and social commentary. I think that word "muddled" is good for this. It's a little muddy, you know. It's like not really a clear understanding of like the characters are kind of like you care about them, but you kind of don't, you know, and you're kind of like whatever. Yeah.
Muddled. You heard it here first from Darren. So when you watch Leo in The Beach. So yeah, this is the movie that he took instead of American Psycho. So that's just one major thing. He was going to be Patrick Bateman, and thankfully he went to Christian Bale because that's still one of the best performances of all time.
I've never seen American Psycho.
Really? Okay, that one's surprising.
Yeah.
Like usually when you say that, it's like, yeah, that's cool, but like that's surprising. Just because I don't know. That was a pretty big, important movie while we were working at Suncoast. So I figured over the years you would have seen it. But
I mean, I probably bits and
American
pieces,
Psycho is fantastic.
Point, but
great book and great movie. It's one of those rare ones where like the book is amazing and the movie is amazing, kind of for different reasons, and they just both complement each other. So,
do you feel like you could have seen DiCaprio in that role?
I could. It would have been a much, much, much different movie because
a very iconic role for
because of his stature at the time. Like I said, it would have been a hugely different film because of how famous Leo was at the time. And Christian Bale was, he was a kid actor, but he was by no means a star at all. And that's why it worked so well. The kid it was an amazing performance by somebody you had never seen before. So, I mean,
of course, I've seen many scenes from that film, but just not the whole thing.
It's so good. I love it. Well, yeah, that would be a fun one to cover then, because I do love that movie quite a bit. The book is amazing, and yeah, that would be one I think you should watch. Well, yeah. So
I think we're going into Danny Boyle. Oh, sorry, we cut you off with saying the word muddy, but yeah.
No, muddled is where it's at. No, I mean, if you want to just talk Danny Boyle in general, what would be your favorite?
Well, Trainspotting for sure. I mean, again,
that would be number one for you.
You said 96, which is crazy. I thought it was 98, but I remember, being 16 years old when that movie came out, and I loved it. It was so fucking cool.
Yeah,
like, dude, Begbie. I think one of the best things about Trainspotting was like the branding of it all. Like each character was like identifiable on their own, and then I remember it being like that orange and white, and like they would be like called out, and like there'd be posters all over the place, and like I don't know, this is like the suburbs that I'm talking about, the suburbs of Chicago, and I'm seeing this stuff all over. I'm like, what the fuck is Trainspotting, But then as somebody who's like 16 years old and knowing about drugs and everything that's in this film, it's like, oh, this is cool, like this is awesome. And Ewan McGregor kind of popping off in that film. Everybody wanted to be Renton. Everybody wanted to be fucking Sick Boy, with that fucking bleach blonde hair and stuff like that. Like, super cool movie. Awesome. Danny Boyle. That's like he's arrived moment for sure.
Oh, absolutely. So I did rewatch it a couple years ago for the first time in a decade or so. And yeah, it holds up so well. I mean,
did you
talk about iconic music? So, like that soundtrack is
what the fuck?
Yeah, like one of the best of all time.
Lust for Life and all that.
That's a movie that like probably introduced me to Iggy Pop. I would have been in like grade school still, and just like it's not like Iggy Pop was, on alternative radio or anything at the time growing up. So hearing him and discovering that older punk music was incredible. So
I was thinking about that on my walk today because I wrote this intro for this episode 2 days ago because I thought we were going to be recording yesterday.
You're getting your days mixed up there.
I 100%. I really don't know where I am half the time. But anyway, on my walk today, I was thinking about, I want to throw something in about Brian Wilson because of the movies that I know he's in. And like, I looked up, like, because I clearly, it's very much connected to, God Only Knows is very much connected to Boogie Nights for me. And it's such a great moment.
So good. Yeah.
But like, that's the importance, I think, of movies and the connection of having songs, be the soundtrack of like important moments in the film. And talking about Trainspotting and you hearing you talk about the connection with Iggy Pop is so perfect because like that was your way into Iggy Pop. Like, what if Iggy Pop's camp said, no, I don't want to do that film, you know? Like maybe you would have, I'm sure you would have heard about it because you just were into the music scene, but like not in the way that this movie really brought you into it.
No, I mean, yeah, just movies in general in the 90s. It was a huge way to discover new bands that I would have never discovered otherwise. So
kind of like even Dumb and Dumber. Remember like the soundtrack for that?
I'm not even joking. I listened to the Dumb and Dumber soundtrack just like a couple months ago because I absolutely had it on tape back in the day when I had it.
Everybody did.
That's really, I don't think I realized that soundtrack was that popular. Because
I mean, most of those bands were alternative bands, and they were being played on Q101, which is like in Chicago, our local alternative music.
But I mean, even more kind of underground, not necessarily underground, but like lesser known alternative bands at the time. Like, and that's kind of the Farrelly brothers. They always have like a huge finger to their pulse on that kind of music. But like, yeah, that soundtrack is a fucking beautiful relic of 94. Like if you haven't heard the Dumb and Dumber soundtrack, that's a fun one to listen to get that vibe at the time. So
you're not wrong.
So thank you for bringing that up. Any other Danny Boyle movies that stand out to you the most? I mean, I can go through his filmography right now.
Yeah, why don't you tell me yours?
I mean, I definitely have my top three. It's Trainspotting, Steve Jobs, and Sunshine. Those are definitely my top three.
I didn't even know he
Danny
did the
Boyle
Steve
movies.
Jobs movie.
That Steve Jobs movie. I don't know.
The one with Ashton Kutcher?
No. The Aaron Sorkin written one with Fassbender. Michael Fassbender playing Steve Jobs and Jeff Daniels.
Like you're like, no, not the Ashton Kutcher.
That one I've never seen it, so I won't say anything. But it doesn't look very good. I don't know anything about it, so I probably shouldn't say anything. Kate Winslet, Seth Rogen, Jeff Daniels, Michael Fassbender playing Steve Jobs. Written by Aaron Sorkin. I was blown away by how much I loved this movie because, like, it's not like I don't give a shit about Steve Jobs creating, the iPod or Apple. Like, there's nothing about that subject matter or the character study that I would normally like be into. But like the way it's directed, it is one of the best character studies. Like,
oh goddamn, I didn't even know it was him. Yeah, so this is the thing. There's a lot.
Yeah, he's kind of a chameleon.
Yeah,
he definitely is a little
like
bit of a chameleon.
Slumdog Millionaire. That song was that movie was gigantic and like totally Oscar contender. And I didn't even know Danny Boyle directed that until just now, looking it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was nominated for Best Director for that one. I mean, that's definitely his biggest one for sure. But
in 127 hours to 2010.
That one's all right. But yeah, Steve Jobs, I think is an amazing film. Fassbender and as we were just talking about couple episodes back with Speed, Jeff Daniels is incredible in that movie. He's kind of the lead of Apple that is wrestling power with Steve and often. And so their arguments are edited in a way that it's just like, you don't even have to know like the details of the of the company, but like watching them argue over it and what the power struggle was like is so well done. And Jeff Daniels is incredible in it. So yeah, again, it was one I wouldn't expect to be in my top three of Boyle's, but it definitely is. And then Sunshine was one I saw,
which I've never seen.
First came out, it came and went. Like it's a sci-fi movie, 2007. Amazing cast like Cillian Murphy, Chris Evans, Rose Byrne, Michelle Yeoh, Cliff Curtis. It was a huge, awesome cast, and the movie just like. I mean, I don't even know what the box office was, but it did not make a huge splash. But it's gained appreciation over the years, largely because of that cast and Danny Boyle. Amazing sci-fi movie. So,
by the way, how are you going to call Trainspotting 2? This was like the biggest mistake, in my opinion. T2. Like what the fuck?
I know, but it's so stupid that I support it. So, and it's as T2 is, the OG T2 is one of my favorite movies of all time. It is so stupid that I'm okay with it. It's also largely because I love the Trainspotting sequel. I think it's great.
I never saw, so
I think it's awesome. Like it's an actual sequel where it's like it does not try to like recreate the first one. It's a truly like different film 20 years later in the characters' lives. So it's like they're 20 years older. And so you're not going to make the same type of movie. And so it has a different vibe and a different feel, but still maintaining the characters and where they could be 20 years after it. So like, yeah, I think it's actually great. So, definitely have a little bit of a different vibe than the original, but I think it's an awesome follow-up to it. So T2, yeah, that is pretty dumb. I love it.
I love that you're on board with it too. That's a very classic fucking Pat thing to do.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I have a couple blind spots of movies that I have not seen. Trance, is that Johnny Depp? No. James McAvoy, Vincent Cassel. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen Yesterday. It looks really stupid, but
yeah, it looks really stupid, right?
I think some people say it's pretty decent, which again, it's Danny Boyle, so I would watch it, but that's the one where, it's a world where a world where the Beatles don't exist. I don't know. It's like it could be good.
Sounds like a stretch, yeah.
Yeah, sounds like a stretch. Millions I have not seen. 2004 comedy, something about a kid. I don't know anything about it really. And then Shallow Grave. People love Shallow Grave. That's his first major studio movie with Ewan McGregor. Would like to watch that one.
Yeah, I never saw that either.
Black comedy crime film.
Well, now we got 28 years later coming out this year, if it's not out already.
Yeah, that was another reason why I thought this would be a good pick. It is kind of a big deal that he's coming back and directing the third movie in the 28 series. So, and it's a planned trilogy. So,
well, I saw the we pasted posters up and around town. That's the best thing about living in LA is like there's just so much movie shit all over the place.
Oh yeah.
And there was for 28 years later, and it was right by Pam's Coffee over there by the Vista. And it's like some guy walking away and he's got like a guy's head and it's like it's kind of silhouetted, but you see like the spine coming down.
I love it. Okay, maybe back to the movie. A couple more things. We mentioned the music. The score is done by Angelo Badalamenti, composer for Twin Peaks and multiple David Lynch projects.
Exactly.
That was pretty awesome. So
he's got a gigantic ovation at the Blue Velvet screening that I was at the cemetery.
The composer, Angelo?
People love him because of David Lynch and their collaborations. And so, yes, of course, it's amazing that he's part of this film.
I mean, that's the power of music. People will be hearing that Twin Peaks theme like on their deathbed, like in like 100 years. It's like the power of what music can do, and then like how amazing that theme song is, and the music to Twin Peaks. So,
have you ever seen that video where Angelo is talking about like how it happened while he's playing the putting it together? Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
I should send it to you after this. But for anybody watching that knows, they know how great it is because he's literally just like talking about how David Lynch and him got together to do that. And David Lynch just said, okay, now Angelo, we have this woman and she's missing and we're in the woods right now. And he's like, and this is like Angelo talking about this while he's playing. And he said, okay, it's dude, you got to see it. Like, I can't even explain it and do it justice. It's so good. And it like shows you like how like kind of easy, but also kind of like how beautiful and hard it is at the same time to do this stuff if you're not connected with somebody really well. And like you could tell Lynch and this guy they're just really connected. Really on the same page.
That's awesome. Love that. The soundtrack also had a song from Brian Eno, the amazing Brian Eno, and John Cale of Velvet Underground, called Spinning Away. And I was like, this doesn't sound like either one of them. Turns out the version used in the film is the cover by Sugar Ray. So one of the greatest bands from the 2000s and late 90s, Sugar Ray. So
you know what I love about Sugar Ray is like they're one of those
everything.
Bands, well, yes, but they're one of those bands that like really lean into like who and what they are at this point, like
they always did that. They always
like the throwback of like these great songs that you knew and we're going to play them and we know what you're here for and what we got to do.
Yeah. But then also, just the fact that they were a wannabe metal band that got pop hits and they leaned into that. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just
they just they knew this.
They knew what they were doing. And Sugar Ray's great. Again, beautiful time capsule of 2000. So, but it was a great song. I need to listen to the original. I'm sure I've heard it before, but Spinning Away is the song. So, like I said, from Brian Eno and John Cale. So I would listen to the cover, and I need to check out the original. So
Yeah, I'm looking at this and Blur. There's a Blur song which I was just listening to on my walk the other day. That band, it's funny. I was listening yesterday because the Oasis tour is happening this year, the reunion, and I was like, I don't know, is it still the age old? Like, do you prefer Blur or Oasis?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Blur is maybe opening for Oasis.
No fucking way! Like, no fucking way that would ever happen. However, I will say, I would always be a Blur through and through, but I do like Oasis. So.
Uncle featuring Richard Ashcroft from The Verve, Bittersweet Symphony. Talk about another great song.
Bittersweet Symphony. Yeah.
That was beautiful. I love it.
Hey, yeah, thanks.
Again, this is a slice of what 2000 sounded like, and it's a beautiful thing. So,
yeah, totally. This film in general is like, I don't know. You know how like kids these days, like these days. Well,
TBC
yeah, I know,
these kids these days.
Stupid. But you know how like you'll hear. Well, I get this like window through. My friend Tom. He has a son who's like just old enough to drive now, and like he'll be like, my favorite Star Wars movies are the fucking Jar Jar Binks ones, like with Anakin Skywalker, and like. Okay, our generation is like the middle finger totally up to those. So what happened? How does that switch happen?
I have talked Star Wars with him in the past, and it was great. He knows what he's talking about.
Did we do that when we went to like Dags and stuff? Did we talk Star Wars?
Yeah, we did talk Star Wars. But yeah, I mean, okay, so the prequel, are you talking specifically about the prequels and how that happened? Or are you talking more high level? So.
Well, yes, because that's the one I know that it's like, our entire generation was like, this sucks. Jar Jar Binks sucks. I never really thought that. I like, no, it was fine, but it
wasn't. I don't think it really was our generation because I think it was a little bit older.
I just didn't want to see a movie on Star Wars do anything than what like they are used to.
Right. I don't know. It's a hard thing. I was fine with the prequels for sure because I never grew up loving the original Star Wars movies. I watched the originals as the prequels were coming out. So I didn't have any strong ties to the original. And the prequels are far more original. That's one huge thing of why they age so much better because they're original movies from George Lucas that wouldn't fit into a AI copy of like what a Star movies should look like, which are kind of what most new Disney Star Wars kind of feels like. It just feels like a template that comes out. So that's one reason why it grows better. And that's just how culture works. People, especially fan culture. Star Wars fans are lunatics. They're kind of the worst of the worst when it comes to fan culture.
Well, so are Disney fans. Yeah, I love Disney and I love Star Wars, but yeah,
I think Star Wars, our fans have always been unique with, I don't know, killing what they love. I don't know. But no, there's lots of reasons.
Masochistic fans.
Yeah, that's almost giving them too much credit. I think they're just curmudgeons. But no, the prequels are great. Revenge of the Sith, I think, is one of the best Star Wars movies.
Revenge of the Sith, I remember loving. Yeah.
But
Hayden Christensen isn't great in those films. I don't care what you say.
But Luke wasn't great in the original. So
okay, but that is a real fair point because like. It aged super well, and you don't even think about that now,
right?
But so maybe that's why. I mean, we're
a soap opera
from it now, like, with like those coming out. Like
the Star Wars have always been kind of soap opera like, so it's like the bad acting is almost like part of the charm of it. So
and I always loved like the marketing, like going to Taco Bell and getting my fucking Star Wars characters and my like. Their version of the Happy Meal and like seeing the poster with like the small Anakin kid and Darth Vader's the shadow, that was awesome. I fucking loved it.
I definitely remember the Pepsi machines. There were a lot of Star Wars Pepsi machines at the time. So.
I mean, kind of like that's the magic of it all. It's kind of like in the marketing sometimes, Well, I mean, dude, Batman was like that. Batman was like that.
Star Wars, yeah.
Jurassic Park was like that.
there were some badass McDonald's big Pepsi cups that I had for Jurassic Park. I do remember having those for sure.
Yeah, like I wish I had them now,
Okay, so this movie, The Beach, came out on February 11th, 2000, and I looked up Box Office Mojo because I definitely didn't see this movie when it came out, but I looked up if I went to the theater that week, and I did. And the movie I went to see this weekend that The Beach came out was Scream 3. And so Scream 3 beat The Beach was number one, but that was the movie I was watching this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, fuck yeah. The Scream films are great. I even think the ones now are great. But I always felt like those were like not given a lot of like credit. Even Scream 3, I think Patrick Dempsey's in that one.
That is the one that most people dislike the most. That's the one where it got
because it talks about the Hollywood like porno shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Jay and Silent Bob make a cameo in Scream 3.
So. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Miramax just really merged in that shit right then. But yeah, that was what was going on in the movie theater when the Beach came out. So,
and Beach was number 2 then, huh?
Or 3. I think it was number 2. Anything else on The Beach?
Not really. So at the end of this film, to you listeners out there, Leonardo DiCaprio turns into this like sort of rebel who, is like, okay, if you're going to tell me that I have to sit here on this cliff and watch these guys who have this like map that I made for them, Tilda Swinton basically maroons him. He starts to grow a resentment, and he decides that, well, fuck everybody. I'm going to go into this camp with like these, like, I don't mean to call them guerrillas, but like, I don't know how else to say it. Like army, guerrilla warfare. I don't know. Like they're just like soldiers protecting the crops, the marijuana crops. And he's just like fucking with them. And he's like in their presence, and he's like taking their, do-rags off and like putting them on himself. And it's like, yeah, like these guys aren't going to wake up and like fucking hear you. Like that's a little unbelievable. And then he watches these kids that he gave the map to get fucking murdered by these guys, and he hisses at them, and it's an interesting little moment because it's like kind of like, oh well, this could have been us, but we actually made it to the camp. But then also to realize like this is not fun anymore. This is dangerous. And then they get to the camp, and he's like, I'm back. I'm the guy you remembered. And Tilda Swinton is like, well, I'm going to play Russian roulette and like shoot you with this gun so that we can stay here, because that's what these like army guys say you have to do. And they all then say, fuck this ain't fun anymore. And then they all take off on a raft together. And then he goes to an internet cafe and gets like a picture of the good old days.
Ending described it for the movies.
I mean, it's kind of it, right? I mean, I'm not.
No, you described it succinctly. I love it. So
yeah. Watch the film for more detail.
No, I mean, you're right. It does kind of just unfold in a, it almost feels like a shrug at the end. Like the gun doesn't go off. There was no bullet. And then everybody just runs out, and then they're just on the raft, and Leo. And they're like,
fine. Tilda Swinton though refused to leave, so she stayed there, and we don't know what happened to her. It's like, who cares anyway,
Oh man, that's a movie I want to see. I want to see like Castaway type movie, but with Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, like now she's there and nobody's there, and she's there with like all these like fucking gun-toting marijuana,
Oh, yeah, that's true. She would have other people around, but I kind of want to see it like with just her. But then, and then she brings out her inner fury on the marijuana crops and everybody protecting it. Anyway, Boyle, if you're listening, this is a possibility follow-up for The Beach.
This is the follow-up that you never knew you needed to make.
Right.
By the way, check it out. I did have my beach attire in the background here. So if you're listening,
Tom Skilling.
But yeah, I got Tom Skilling, our meteorologist who retired last year, I think it was, and moved to Hawaii. I did this piece in tribute, and it's him on a fucking beach, which feels like the beach from the movie, so that's why I got it up here.
Yep.
And I
assumed you modeled it after the film. So yeah.
No, of course. Yeah. I can't talk about this one yet, but if you're watching this, this is premature, but I think on the 18th, they're going to tell everybody I'm on tour with Punk Rock and Paintbrushes this year with the Offspring.
What?
Yeah, so I don't know if you
incredible.
can see it too well, but this is Dexter, and then all the
Noodles.
and I wanted to do my piece based on the Get a Job video. Do you remember that one where it's like they're walking through like the Back to the Future lot?
Yep.
Because I had to give this up to Punk Rock and Paintbrushes soon, and then they take it on the tour with the Offspring, and it could sell out there. Like, fingers crossed, somebody might like this enough and they'll buy it. But that means that I will never ever get to have it in my presence again. So I wanted to have it on the podcast today, even though it's premature to talk about it. You guys get to hear it first. This is my piece, and I really like. You can see this is the clock tower. From Back to the Future, but it's in the video because it's on the lot. That's where they shot it. And like up here, they've got Dexter comes in on like a hang glider in the beginning, if you remember, and it starts with like they show like the they got the like sprinkler going, so it's going, and then there's a kid who gets like the malt, like the chocolate malt or whatever, the vanilla malt poured on him. He's in the back seat, and you got these like two crazy like married couples in the back, and then you got their logo on the car and the Camaro, and then you got this girl who like presses the play button for the song in the beginning. It took me a long time to paint this, believe it or not, but
how many times did you watch the video to get all the details?
Like a ton,
exactly.
Ton, and I all I was doing the whole time was like, say no way, no way. And then I'm thinking like, my God, like this song was a fucking gigantic hit,
Yep.
It's like, dude, but it is kind of like Cecilia, right? Like it's, Cecilia, you're breaking my heart. You're breaking my confidence, baby. Right?
It's beautiful. I love it.
But isn't it kind of similar to that?
Oh, yeah. I think it definitely is. So
I always thought it was, but I was like, I guess they got away with that. I don't know. Anyway, both songs.
Yeah. Talk about a pivotal 94 album, Smash. That was a big one for me when I was in
But
school,
this is not on Smash, right?
No. I'm just saying the Offspring in general. So I had a chance to go see them at the Metro last year when they were playing.
That's right. Yeah.
Riot Fest. So, we mentioned Q101. That was the only way to get the tickets. So I actually did call into Q101 to get tickets for their show at the Metro. Year? Well, they just played Riot Fest last year where they played Smash. I
remember.
Yeah. And so the night before, I was able to go see him at the Metro, which was a kick-ass show. So very fun.
And by the way, like that guy is awesome. Like Dexter, he's like flying planes and doing all this amazing shit. Like,
doctorate, I believe. So
yeah, he's awesome. Anyway, so that's my art.
Off of that, was it that album? Was it Americana?
Yes. Okay. I think that's a follow-up to Smash,
Yeah, but The Kids Aren't All Right, which comes from what's the movie that was used on? It's the Josh Hartnett alien high school movie.
The Faculty.
The Kids Are All Right was a notorious song used in The Faculty, maybe just in the preview, but it was just like...
So it was The Faculty 97?
98.
Okay, so yeah, totally. Like look what we're talking about. Like, dude, remember like Can't Hardly Wait? All these films just like, dude, American Pies, all these 90s films just had like banging fucking soundtrack,
Yes. The music was a major driver for whether or not you call it marketing, but to sell more. But like,
what kind of like did we like those songs
utilized
because of
in
the
the
movies?
best way?
Or would we have liked them no matter what?
It was a balance. They worked in tandem, so nothing wrong with either. So,
but anyway, in summation, that's my art in the background here. That we
it's fucking awesome. It's going to sell out fast.
I hope so. Yeah. Because look, I like the Offspring and grateful to be a part of this thing with Punk Rock and Paintbrushes. The previous stuff that I did with Green Day and a few other things, just like No Effects I did last year for their final tour. I'm grateful for that. Like those are opportunities that like I can't like diminish. Like those are really good opportunities for someone who loves punk rock to like be a part of that, so I'm really grateful for it. But also I'm grateful, like this is like the thing, just to talk about movies and music and art, and like Brian Wilson earlier today we're talking about that. Like This is like some of the best conversations that I've ever had in my life were like in the studio talking about the Beach Boys with Matt Allison, recording scissor stuff. And I told him that yesterday at like 6:50. I sent a message to Matt, and I was like, yo, Matt, like, does like God Only Knows ever get like bad? Like every time I listen to it, it gets better for me. Like I wrote him that yesterday, and he's like, oh, haha, if you want like, if you want to like for fun, try to figure out like what key that song's in. And like, these are like the kind of things we would talk about. And it's like, when you make art like that and you connect people and you stand the test of time that way. Like so many people have so many memories about different things. And like, that's the great thing about doing this podcast is like, we can connect with people that are out there listening to this and hearing it the same way we are or whatever, like shared experiences in art are, it's like that's the best part of it.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's why I turned on the computer to get on this podcast, man. I need to learn more about movies from you.
Well, look, I got to tell you, we are over 100, well, almost at 200 subscribers on YouTube, which I don't know if you would have thought that we'd get there with people that we don't know that are listening to this in 2020 when we started this thing. But that's 23. I looked at it today, 23 new subscribers since May 30th up until June 11th, which is what it is today. That's pretty incredible, man. Like that people they're finding this, they're hearing it. They might connect to the movies the way that we do. Like that's the point. I sent Pat earlier to the audience out there. I sent Pat a picture of Suncoast today. That there's one remaining Suncoast left that is fully intact. Like, and dude, I don't know if when you looked at that, well, what did you feel when you looked at that?
I mean, beautiful, beautiful nostalgia. Talk about the year 2000 when this movie came out. We were working at Suncoast, so, or well, maybe it was a little after. Maybe I'm muddling the years. I started in 2000, so maybe you started like a little bit after that. But either way,
yeah, I think by 2004-ish, I was out of there. But yeah.
Definitely a rush of nostalgia, and it looked just like the way it did when we were there. So it was awesome to see that. So that's what and I thought. North Carolina, those are where
which one was the most intact one? Was that Ohio?
I think it was the Ohio one. So
yeah, so we used to work at Suncoast. We talk about that often on this podcast, and like
it's a pivotal part of the show for sure.
Yeah, we saw this picture today, and like all of those end caps and shit, they were the same. Like the look of it, like the colors, the red, the grays, the blacks. It was like holy shit. Like,
well, I'm sure those are pretty independently owned. So I'm happy that like they're obviously intentional about like maintaining what it looked like, that because otherwise, like, why would you keep a Suncoast open if you're gonna like change it too much? I guess.
I think that one that's still intact is all original for the most part, and it said it was like opened in 92.
Oh, it's amazing.
And shout out to my friend who sent me that. She's like, I bought a pewter Jack Skellington from you at Suncoast back in the day. And she thought of me and sent me that post. And I was like, I got to share this with Pat,
That's incredible. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah.
I got a couple toys. This I'm going to show this when we cover the Thing one day, but this is my Thing action figure set that I bought from Suncoast.
I didn't know you got that from Suncoast.
Yeah, I had it forever. It's signed by like 10 people from the movie, so I'll tease that for now, but I'll show it like when we actually cover the movie. So
really?
Oh, that's like the only thing I'll be only like action figure that I've been keeping because I have it like signed by like so many people from the movie. So basically right? I have John Carpenter, basically every living actor except for Kurt Russell, who will never do signings like that at like any conventions or anything. But I just want to let this past summer to get Bennings, the actor, because he was one I was missing. So I got
this is a thing with people listening to this. You are a goddamn mystery. I didn't know you had all this shit and then you go to these things. Like I love movie memorabilia.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's fun. Yeah. I mean, I go largely for the Thing and John Carpenter stuff. So it's that's one of the biggest drives, but yeah, they're always fun.
Well, that's great. I can't wait to cover the Thing so that we can talk about them.
Definitely a legacy episode for sure. So it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on this Leo hidden gem, underappreciated movie? The Beach.
No, again, I think it's great. I'm glad that we covered it. In the grand scheme of Leo movies, not my favorite, but
I mean, I definitely recommend it. Like,
yeah, definitely recommend it.
For all the reasons we said, even though it's not a perfect film, it's like there's a lot of like awesome stuff to like understand culture and movies in general.
1000%, and it's always like great to look at early works from artists that you like, and this having two artists that we really love. Well, three, could say Tilda Swinton as well, or Robert Carlyle. Like, but Leonardo DiCaprio and Danny Boyle for sure. Like these guys working together. Who knows if that'll happen again?
If 28 years later really hits, maybe Leo will come back. So we'll see.
30 something years with Leonardo DiCaprio on the beach.
All right, wrap it up.
All right, sounds good. So, what have you been up to these days?
The Phoenician Scheme. That's what I've been up to.
Ooh, have not seen yet.
Oh my God. I fucking loved it. So,
whoa.
I really have come full circle with Wes Anderson. I mean, I don't know how much we've talked about Wes Anderson, but certainly one of our favorite directors of all time. Certainly while all those movies that we love are coming out. Rushmore and Tannenbaums are consistently at my top two. Every time I watch one of those,
You mean in his filmography?
In his filmography, those are the two that every time I watch them, they fight for the number one position. And I mean, like everything for the years after that, I absolutely loved. And then I got a little tired of his style. I think a lot of people have kind of has had a similar trajectory.
Well, like I said, you do one trick so well, and then everybody copies you. Like now, like all of a sudden, you're not like cool anymore. It's like, what the fuck? It's weird.
Yeah, it's unusual. Like it's more of like a larger conversation on art in general. It's like if you have a style and you keep it, why is that necessarily a bad thing? But when you are watching it over the years, you can get burnt out on it. So like,
it's like the Ramones, dude.
Right. That's what I was exactly thinking. Yeah. They did the exact same thing throughout their entire career, which is exactly how I want them to be. But I could see, I obviously was not listening to their music as it was coming out.
Yeah,
I could see people at the time who started listening to Ramones. Maybe they got tired of them.
But then you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, because they'll be like, oh, now you changed your style up. We don't like you anymore. It's like, Jesus Christ.
So it's just kind of a larger conversation. Asteroid City, I was like, I didn't even finish. Like,
agreed.
I walked out of the movie, and it wasn't even because
I didn't hate it.
Right. And it's 100% me not being engaged with his style. Like I just was like halfway through the movie, I'm like, I've seen this, and I'm just not going to watch the rest of it for whatever reason.
Dispatch. So. I'm sorry. I know people love Friends Dispatch.
I love Friends Dispatch.
I've only seen it once.
Yeah. I love Friends Dispatch.
I've only seen it once, so it's not really fair. But I kind of was at the point that you were at with Asteroid City at Friends Dispatch. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I hit my peak of exhaustion with Asteroid City, and that was just his last one. But it's already come full circle now. Like I watched the Phoenician Scheme, and I loved every second of it. Like it was such a joy.
What do you mean full circle?
It's entirely full circle for getting tired of his style, and now I'm like back to like I want him to keep his style for the rest of his life now. So, and just really being like, this is what he's doing, and I'm just a fan of it, and I'm not going to have a problem with if that's what he wants to do for the rest of his artistic career, is keep that style that he's so well defined for, and I don't need him to change anything now. So just full circle in terms of my experience watching his movies. It's not like he's done anything wrong. Like he's never made a bad movie in my opinion at all. It's just how much you want to engage with that style. And watching
Asteroid
this one,
City, I would venture to say wasn't a great movie.
It's possible. I'm sure there's still plenty of great stuff in it, and I would like to rewatch it now again. But
I've seen it twice. Yeah. I saw it in the theater and I saw it afterwards. Oh, really? And I was like, still don't like it. I mean,
fair enough.
Again, maybe it's one of those ones that'll age well because I am so just like fucking fucked on the style and everything like that. Like they do, like you plug in AI nowadays, Wes Anderson film, and like it'll plug in like exactly. But that's like how to a T perfect he is in that style.
Yeah, you're right. His strength is almost like a weakness. So, but either way, it is entirely just my experience watching it, and I fucking love the Phoenician Scheme. It is like just a straight up comedy. And I had an amazing time watching it. So
Right.
You're
Okay.
right.
Well, I
feel like a lot of people.
see it.
I feel like a lot of people. I haven't looked too close on the reviews, but there are a lot of people who are pretty ambivalent about it. I guess.
Well, this movie.
So, the Phoenician
I
scheme.
don't even know how it's Phoenician. Okay, Phoenician. I don't even know how to say it.
Phoenician. Yeah.
So you're saying they're ambivalent, like they're like kind of like an asteroid city.
Yeah, I don't think the reviews were anything spectacular. Is all I'm saying. So.
Had you seen any of the Netflix like shorts?
No, I did not. I missed those.
I missed them too, which is weird because like I have Netflix, and I do not have Netflix. So I never seen them even like advertised on there. There's like
that's
one
Netflix,
Benedict Cumberbatch, Cumberbatch, Batch.
Batchman.
But yeah, like I don't even really like him too much. So
what?
Like,
really? You don't like Benedict?
Yeah, not really. Well, again, it's like not like I hate him or anything. I just don't really love like I'm not like I'm gonna go sit down and watch something that stars him kind of thing. So, no offense to him, but I didn't really watch it or wasn't interested because of that. And I know people love those. I mean, they're shorts, they're not full movies.
Power of the Dog, I would recommend if you want to check out Benedict and get into his style. So
speaking of dogs, I love the dogs. I never saw. And I also
you never saw. Okay.
I mean, most of the stuff too, that's the claim. You would think me as the artist, like I would be more into the claymation stuff and all that. But I had not seen that. Fantastic Mr. Fox. That's not like the biggest one on my radar either.
Wait, have you seen it though?
Of course, but
gotcha.
It's not like I've seen it 30 times like I have with Rushmore.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's a couple I do need that have only been once. I've only seen Moonrise Kingdom once, loved it. I've only seen Grand Budapest Hotel once and loved it. And a lot of people put those two near the top of his filmography.
Both of those films are fantastic.
Yeah.
I will say that one that I know has gained steam over the years, and that is one of the ones that people are kind of like, well, it's like such an acquired taste. Bottle Rocket. Do you love?
Absolutely. I mean, that's that his first movie. It's certainly feels the least like his style, I would say, right?
Least?
Yeah.
Yes and no. I mean,
stylistically,
like yes and no. I mean, I don't think the money was there for like some of the things that he probably is doing now. But I think the ideas were there, or like, on paper, it was like eclectic and weird the way that his mind thinks.
Yeah.
But also the performances in it are fucking fantastic. And also you got the same writers kind of that like have been, I don't like Roman Coppola is always like on board with him. And then you also got
Owen Wilson.
Yes, Owen Wilson. And Owen Wilson and him, I think, wrote Bottle Rocket together.
Owen wrote most of his movies for the first several. So.
And then came back for French Dispatch, which was why I was really excited for French Dispatch. Because
really?
Yeah, because
I didn't know that.
Tenenbaums, I'm pretty sure. I think Roman Coppola, Owen Wilson, and Wes Anderson had a part in writing that film. But then also there's a big I talk about it sometimes, like the podcast that I like a lot. You must remember this. Polly Platt, who was married to
Oliver Platt.
No. But that would be amazing. Was married to Peter Bogdanovich. She was like really pivotal in getting Wes Anderson his start, and like believed in it. Said like, the studio, you have to go with this guy and trust in him and his original artistry. And that was like Bottle Rocket that they championed. So that was a big movie for a lot of reasons, but it was super like acquired taste, super like if you're either going to get this or you're not kind of thing.
Well, seems like enough people got it. He's still going strong. I mean, his run after that is kind of the prime, for me, Rushmore, Tenenbaums, Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, and then Darjeeling Limited. Like Life
Aquatic is fucking so good.
Life Aquatic and Darjeeling Limited. Those are both like movies that I really love quite a bit in his filmography. So,
have you heard?
My only problem with the Phoenician scheme, and maybe his in general, is that he's kind of. It's not even a problem. It's just personal taste. He's definitely moved away from the amazing integration of like British rock songs in just rock songs in general, and the types of scores and bands and songs that he used in his older movies. Like there's basically none of that in the Phoenician scheme. There's no Kinks or Stones or anything like that.
That's interesting because like they're using just like the original scores.
Instead. Yeah, he's definitely moved to two original scores, and the score is amazing. It's incredible.
The guy from Devo, right? Mark Mothersbaugh.
No, he didn't do that. He did his earlier ones, but it wasn't Mark Mothersbaugh. I'll have to look it up. I forget who it was on this one, but it wasn't Mark. But I do kind of miss some of that integration, like that score, those scores with like the rock songs and the soundtracks. Like all four of those movies that you mentioned, like I had all four of those soundtracks on CD, and like totally. I listened to endlessly.
This is like what we're talking about, music, and all these songs that like work so like I'm gonna kill myself today or whatever or tomorrow.
With Elliott Smith like going, and
you're like, God damn, needle in the hay, like what the fuck? And then I've been out walking. Like who hears that song and thinks anything but that scene where she's walking from the bus?
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about like one of my favorite. It's an underrated one, but the beginning of Darjeeling Limited with This Time Tomorrow from the Kinks playing with that whole montage. Like, so
like
good.
You mean like where they're like losing all their like luggage as
the slow motion getting onto the train. Yeah, it's so good. But he's moved away from that as an artist a little bit, and I'll always have those other ones, but it's just not something he's interested in doing with the new ones. But again, love the Phoenician scheme, so I'm really happy I've come full circle with Wes Anderson. So,
well, me too. Okay, I'll have to see it, and then I'll report back. But anything else you've been up to? Anything else you've been watching?
Let's see. What do we got? I'm gonna go to try to see Batman Forever at the Music Box this weekend. They're screening it. That would be pretty fun.
Just finished watching that the other day on Max.
Batman Forever. Nice. I haven't watched in years. Apparently, this is not the one they're screening at the Music Box, but apparently there's a director's cut, a Schumacher cut with like a lot of the stuff that he intended, which would have made it a lot darker of a film and more psychological. I mean, it's been screening like in LA at a couple different places. I think like Kevin Smith like screened it, so it is a pretty different cut that's like available. And I'm
Schumacher
just really intrigued
died,
by it,
right? A couple of years ago.
Did he pass away? I don't know.
I think so. Question. I'm pretty sure, but that's interesting. I didn't know there would be like a darker, because they all just seems like so like getting back to like that goofy or like using the Tim Burton like fun part of it, but like to like an extreme, because you're not Tim Burton, so it doesn't really work as well in that universe. It almost comes off as just kind of cringy, kind of like campy.
I don't know.
But I know Batman originally was like that. So
yeah. I mean, obviously it went hugely off the rails with the next one, Batman and Robin, but apparently like what a version of Batman Forever was available, and it was like whittled down to the theatrical version that we're familiar with. So I don't know. I mean, a movie like that, I would just love to see any type of director's cut for it. So
everybody's looking for some more Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones.
Fuck yeah. Drew Barrymore looked really good in that movie. So I remember
Nicole Kidman too, man.
Liking that as a kid. So yeah. Now I just have to watch her open every fucking AMC movie.
Meridian. Oh yeah. Well, I don't go to AMC, so I don't fuck with that. But I know, yeah.
It's in every fucking screen. It's the only consistent thing you see at an AMC is Nicole Kidman walking up and talking about how special movies are every fucking time. So
why is that still airing? That wasn't like a 2020 thing.
Yeah, and it's still the same one. They just keep on going. And it was when like the last time I went to AMC, it was to see Mission Impossible. So to see Tom Cruise movie with fucking Nicole Kidman introducing it, basically. Yeah. So it's
setting it up.
These fucking lunatic dinosaurs are still the major players in Hollywood. So
say that again. These two dinosaurs, did you say?
I mean, they're kind of dinosaurs of Hollywood, at least. I mean, they're getting up there. So
that's an interesting way to put it. Like these guys are just like the old relics of the movies gone by.
They're certainly the last movie stars for sure. That's more what I meant. Like Tom Cruise is definitely like one of the last movie stars. We're never going to have like that type of movie star.
The last movie star, really.
Right. What else have I been watching? Cliff Curtis I mentioned he was in Sunshine. He played that Jesus character in Bringing Out the Dead, which I fucking love. It was a connection. I just realized he's in Avatar: Way of Water, and it reminded me there's 191 days until Avatar: Fire and Ash comes out. So
Christ.
Just give you an update on that. So
hey, thank you. Yeah,
I know you're begging for that number. So I got a couple new.
Wouldn't be a good episode without it.
No, not at all. I got a couple new VHS tapes I acquired just for fun. I mean, speaking of Tom Cruise, I got Top Gun VHS.
Original.
Taxi Driver.
Oh, yeah. How much of those set you back?
Well, so this is a good friend of mine, Rich. Shout out to Rich. You might be listening. Just a friend of mine here in the city. Moved out of his place that he's been living in Wrigleyville for 20 years. So he was partying with some of his movie collection stuff.
Ooh, and you got lucky to get some of them, huh?
And I got lucky. Great collection. Original Friday the 13th.
Damn.
And then speaking of movie we just mentioned, gave me his copy of The Thing on VHS. So
he gave you these, or like you bought them from him?
Oh no, he was just he supported me. So he knows I'm a huge movie fan. We talk movies all the time, so he was just ready to part from.
We were tipping our cap over there to him.
Oh yeah, Chicago legend, Rich. So thank you, Rich, for that. I will be keeping these. I made a promise. Like he gave me a bunch of random ones and I was checking up if anything's of any value yet. Nothing quite yet, but I'll be holding on to them. If anything comes out of that. So
yeah, you can make sure he gets them back and with interest later on.
I saw a copy of Killer Clowns from Outer Space on VHS going for $100 at Reckless Records not that long ago. So
that makes sense. That's also probably because that movie wasn't probably when it came out like super sought after. Like there's probably not that many copies of the original. I saw it on HBO,
I don't even know if it was the original. Either way, it's just like the VHS nostalgia boom right now. And it will keep on going in that direction just because of the way physical media works. So,
Well, and all these things are like over 30 years old now,
Yeah.
Hopefully my brother didn't sell all my goddamn VHSs that are in his basement. I mean, I will literally never talk to my brother again if he did. I will literally because it's been years now, and like I can bet he'd be like, Darren's never gonna know, like blah blah. Like I'm coming back for that shit when I have a house where I can put them in there. And I'll tell you what, if they're not there, I'm going to fucking scream. Like you're gonna hear it. It'll be the scream heard across the world. Eric, I hope you're listening to this.
I was going to say we need to invite Eric on and just give him a project to do, and then we'll discuss it on the podcast. Like send him into the collection to dig out some relics, and then he can report back on an episode, and we'll have him on.
Dude, honestly, we could do like the Geraldo episode that aired back in the day when he was like looking for that, like the catacombs of like Al Capone or whatever.
Right.
It's like we'll send Eric through my collection of CDs and DVDs and whatever the fuck.
Oh, it'd be incredible. So
yeah,
that's all the exciting stuff that I've been watching. How about you? Anything good?
So I told you I saw the David Lynch thing, and I took a picture of his grave actually to send you, but it didn't turn out too well, so I couldn't get his like full grave. Like there's still so many amazing just like tributes pouring in over there at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, and I saw Blue Velvet. We talked about that, right? Since I've seen it, yeah,
it's awesome. Well, once upon a time, you had not seen that.
Right.
And that is amazing how, even after just a few years, how much that movie's getting even better than what it was when it first came out. So I
mean, we knew it would, like when we first saw it, we knew this was fucking perfect. Yeah. And now like watching it, it's like, how is this his ninth film? And it's probably his best.
He wants it to be his 10th film so bad.
Totally.
He's right? He's so butthurt that it's not his 10th film because he would have just been like,
that's why I don't think he's done shit, because it's like, you can't fucking beat that. He's
definitely dragging his feet because
if anybody can, it's him. Okay. I'll give him credit, but yeah, the movie's perfect. It's everything you want. And especially as movie fans, everybody who's a movie fan is just fucking in love with that. Yeah. And now, of course, we're hearing that they're going to do a Cliff Booth spinoff and everything like that, which is great. I'm all for that, because as you know, and you're the one who bought me the book, there's a lot more story in there to tell.
Hell yeah.
Watching it with a crowd in a cemetery full of cinephiles, with cheering and applauding at the right parts, screaming when Brad Pitt takes his fucking shirt off. I mean, it was all what you wanted. It was perfect. Tom Holland is his name, the guy who plays Spider-Man.
Sounds right. Yeah.
He was right next to us. We were sitting,
Nice.
and he was right next to us selling something. He's got a non-alcoholic beer brand called Beero.
Oh yeah.
Bero. You know about it?
It sounds familiar. I didn't realize it was him though. So
yeah, he founded it because he quit drinking like 2 years ago or something. But anyway, there was this like line, and we couldn't like see the screen or anything. We're like, oh god, I hope this like fucking ends before the movie started, which it did, thank God. But like he was there like slinging the drinks and stuff like that, and it was like a big deal. First time ever we skipped the photo thing that they had, because like those are always so cool and they've got it like themed for the movie, but it was just like the Hollywood sign behind you, so we kind of like skipped it, which was fine. We played it a little easy and just kind of sank into it, and it was great. You know, the movie is so good. It's just to be at a place like that with all of these like, you know, there's Ramones buried there, there's fucking David Lynch buried there, there's like all these classic Hollywood, you know, Cecil B. DeMille is buried there, and you're watching a movie. I talk about this all the time on this podcast, but it's if you're ever in LA during the summertime when they have these movies, you need to do it. If you're a fan of the movies, you'll love it and you'll enjoy it like nothing else. Anyway, this cinephile does. So I've been doing that, and I'm also now saving my fucking money because they just keep on showing movies that I have to see. Those two though, like the Blue Velvet, and then you can't miss that. You can't miss that or Once Upon a Time. But there's so many more movies, Pat. I'm telling you, like I want to go to a mall. So
it's definitely on my wish list. A couple different types of movies to watch. One of them is definitely in the cemetery with you checking out some classics.
Yeah, and we will. But
another is watching Jaws on the water. Those are my kind of two mission to watch movies. So
Jaws on the water has to be happening like around the world, you know, right?
I mean, it can happen anywhere. This is just you just set up or go to a body of water, get in a raft, and set up a giant screen, and that's just. I can imagine that be one of the most fun ways to watch that movie. So
I think they did that at Soho House with like a party base on the roof there. You know,
well, a rooftop that's different. You want a real body of water.
No, but it was in the pool.
Could be a shark in there.
Yeah, so, right. 100%. Anyway, so I've been doing that, and then just like kind of put my head down and doing like the art that I was talking about. I got rejected from two galleries. La Luz de Jesus. I've been in there and then their show 2 years in a row, and they rejected all three of my paintings this year, which I haven't shown to the public because I'm hoping I can use those for maybe like building more of like another art show for myself, but like one that's like a little bit smaller. And then I also like entered this like 5x7 contest that was like 3-5, and I didn't get into that one. See, that's part of like being an artist. It's like the rejection of it all, and I was like, you know. You get really fucking pissed for about 5 minutes, and you're like, you know, you're on to something else. But like, it's kind of a bummer. I sent you the book on Stoicism. It's all about your reaction. So 1,000.
You got it. You got it covered, man.
Yeah, you know, 100%, and all that kind of stuff. Dealing with some of my normal medical stuff, like just I think I posted about this yesterday because I didn't really realize there was a day for it. But I have this thing called an ependymoma. I've talked about it every once in a while, but people don't really understand what it is. And I thought like, Marianne, my girlfriend, let me know that there was a day for it, and I didn't know. Wow. Because like it's really rare disease that I got. It's a cancer, but it's not the kind that will like it doesn't kind of. It does grow, but it's different in a lot of people. Anyway, I don't mean to go into any kind of weird medical things, but I found out yesterday that was the day for it, which was raising awareness for it. And I was like, man, at this point, people should know more about this. If you get it, like you kind of do feel like you're like on this private island. And so I was like, I kind of posted for it, like for the first time in a while, yesterday or ever, kind of really. I don't think people ever really knew that I had that, but it's really rare, and it's like. You know, I sat into like a seminar with people that have it yesterday, and it was cool to hear like other people like that have gone through it. And I kind of like that lately, like you can kind of I'm not afraid of like talking about that kind of stuff. Like sometimes I think it's not great to always talk about all your medical stuff, and everybody's got different things. But at this time, like because it's like such a rare disease, I thought like the advocacy behind it and that there's people like actually trying to get the word out about it. Like I was like, yeah, why wouldn't I say something? So in case somebody does go through this, they know that they're not alone, you know? So
Yeah.
kind of like been coming to terms with that. And I kind of like doing that. And then like, dude, honestly, it's been like slow lately, other than those kind of things I'm talking about. I kind of like it. Like, it's like great. I'm not making any money. It's, you know, fucking riding that out, you know, it's like whatever comes will come. Because at some point, I'm sure I'll be really busy and I'll be like, I wish I had this time to chill.
Well, based on the work I've been seeing, the new stuff, you're going to be rolling the Benjamins anytime soon now. So
well,
it's going to keep on coming. So
and again, I've been just kind of sitting back being like, well, maybe Remainders is going to be something that is our sail into the moonlight retirement party with all these new subscribers. You know, maybe we're doing something well here. Maybe people are liking what we do.
The celebration of these movies is genuine. As we've mentioned, Darren and I have been talking about and celebrating movies for 25 years. So when a cinephile hears that, it's a real connection. So
yeah, dude. And honestly, like it would be amazing if the thing that like, you know, kind of pops off for us is like this podcast, like perfect. Because it's the thing that we're like, we just genuinely love talking about movies. Like, and we've done so for so long. Like, why not be that thing that we do for the rest of our lives? You know, like, and it's something that like, you know, could bring us to going on a double-decker bus in Hollywood and doing the podcast from there, or going to Suncoast and doing it. Like, I would love. We've talked. We're joking, but like,
definitely at that one.
Yeah. Would love to do it in person in these different places. You know.
Yeah, the on location. I mean, doing an on location one. Obviously, we need to do at some point, but like if we did manage to do one like at a Suncoast, one of those two that's still available, like that would be.
I mean, I told Marianne about that. She's like, "You guys have to, you know, you have to." So yeah, if you're out there, spread the word about this podcast, because like, you know, as soon as we have 1 billion subscribers, they won't be able to say no.
And thank you for listening this far, especially if you're still here. So, and I mean, like I was saying, like. Out of all the movies we've talked about, like think about how much we've literally only scratched the surface about all the movies that we would want to talk about.
Oh, I know.
Like,
I know.
We've been doing this for like years, and it's only like a small blip of like, you know how many fucking movies I would want to talk about over the next however many years we're doing it.
I think it's getting better now.
No shortage of it is all I'm saying. So
I think it's getting better now in the podcast, because I think we're talking about stuff that's not like the easy, like low hanging fruit that we would cover. Like everyone knows I love Vertigo. Everyone knows I love Signs, you know, but like we're kind of picking the stuff that's like a little bit more obscure, that we like a lot, but like not necessarily are like even The Beach. Like I that's not like something that I would have like said at the beginning of this podcast. Let's cover The Beach, you know?
Right.
There's a lot of reasons to talk about that movie, or just a genuine interest of like, what's this movie like at this age and time, you know?
Well, and that's exactly the whole point of the video store aesthetic. These are the types of movies we talked about kind of the most at the video store Suncoast, because it was obviously, like you're saying, like we've all talked about Vertigo and your favorite movies, but then it's like the random ones that maybe need recommending. Those are the ones we're most excited to recommend to people and talk about the most. So
yeah, totally. And then like even the newer stuff that's coming out, like how do we relate to that, and like newer directors that are coming out, like the Ari Aster movie that's coming out. I don't know if you've seen the trailer for it, but the new one that's like sort of like they're calling like the most modern Western ever. I'm looking forward to that.
Was that the one with Pedro Pascal?
Yeah, so like that's the thing. It's like how many movies? That's kind of like Margot Robbie for a while. It's like how many movies do I need to be seen with Margot Robbie?
Yeah,
kind of like that with Pedro Pascal, but look, I'm into it. I love Joaquin too. So
nice. No, but you're right about the new stuff. It's like we're doing the podcast for years, and then the substance drops. It's like, of course, we got to watch that movie. So
totally. And also just like kind of coming back to so Marianne, my girlfriend, she was on a flight the other day, and she's like, man, I should, because she watched Speed after I was like, dude, have you seen Speed in a while? You know, like. And she watched it. She's like, oh my God, fucking. And then, you know, like our favorite thing to do is like, Cannes, it's Cannes, you know. That baby scene. But like she downloaded our episode to listen to it. Like everybody, you don't have a ton of time to watch every or listen to every podcast. And she was like, holy shit, I loved your guys' conversation about Speed,
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of like me being able to talk about Speed in 2025 is I had to wait that long to cover it because I just couldn't really talk about it that way until I was older. So I don't know. It's kind of cool.
I mean, that's the beauty of art in general. It ages different. Your experience with it ages differently. And then when it comes into your life, when, you see it when it first comes out or you come across it later. It's all,
and even like 15 years from now, we'll probably talk about it differently, right?
I mean, and that's the other thing. Inevitably, we'll want to cover Speed again. Because, after,
totally.
I mean, there's no reason why we can't do a movie again, because, we watch a movie we love 10 years later, probably just look and feel and talk about it differently. So, I mean, at least for the favorite one. So
Dennis Hopper in Blue Velvet really, really turned off my girlfriend. I'll tell you this. She's not a fan, but
that's a performance that, it's so true.
Well, moving on to the song of the week. Do you have one that you think is worthy or what?
I'll go first. So this is a band that I'm going to be seeing on Saturday. I've never seen them in person in concert, but they've been around since like the 2000s. The band This Will Destroy You.
Don't know them.
They are experimental post-rock. They kind of call their stuff doom gaze, which is a little bit combination of shoegaze and doom metal. Kind of like I said, with post-rock, just like deconstructed long-form guitars. It's almost like I always kind of feel like the composition is almost like classical music using guitars. So they've done a lot of stuff with like film scores. So kind of like if you ever heard of like post-rock in film scores, they kind of have that vibe. But they had a couple albums in the 2000s that I liked, and just have never had a chance to see them. They seem like a type of band that would be great live because it is long form and the performance, it's mostly instrumental, not really any lyrics.
That's pretty classic, Patrick.
Yes. For as much as I love a kick-ass lead singer, so gotta be.
No, of course, but there's like a lot more on our jukebox from you that I think has no lyrics than lyrics. Like it's cool that you I've always loved classical music in general, but any instrumental is always one of my favorites. So going with the song A Three-Legged Workhorse by This Will Destroy You, 9 minutes long, so it's a long one, and it's got a vibe that goes with it, and it's a beautiful song, and so excited to see them at Lincoln Hall here in Chicago on Saturday. So great venue,
which I've never been to. I've been to
really?
Schuba's. I've been to Schuba's 100 times. That's the sister venue with Lincoln Hall, but I've never seen a show at Lincoln Hall. So
Lincoln Hall's great.
It's insane. So,
gosh, now it's probably a little older, but it's not that old. It's probably like, I would say less than 15 years old.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful venue.
That's probably why I've been to Schuba's much more. So,
and Schuba's, I mean, if you get to see a show there, that's pretty special. It's a smaller room. I mean, Lincoln Hall's a little larger than that. So,
I mean, that's, kind of been my vibe the last 5-6 years is, not lower, but like,
I mean, you do Talia Hall, which is a little bigger than Lincoln Hall. Yeah.
A little bigger, but like places like Empty Bottle or Schuba's, where it's no matter what, you can be confident that like you can see an affordable show with somebody who's like worthy of seeing because they have such great programming. So it's like if they're playing at any of those shows, it's at least worth it and checking out, and it won't break the bank too much. So,
So Screeching Weasel played last week, and I was wanting to go so bad. The tickets were $54. So it's $54 downtown, and then there's fees. And then, let's say I get a drink. I was not going to drink because it was a Thursday, but let's say I did. Like you're walking out of there spending at least $120.
Yeah.
Full night. I couldn't do that.
It's just entertainment in general. It's the direction that it's gone, but especially music. So,
because I try to look at it sometimes, like I love Screeching Weasel. It's one of my favorite bands of all time. Like I could handle probably $54. That's it all night, But with all the other things on top of it, it was like that's just too much. Like, I don't care who you are. Like right now, at least, and how crazy it is. Like I just couldn't. Plus, like, not to mention all the civil unrest that's happening down there. So
no joke. I was listening to our Remainders playlist, and the Screeching Weasel song came on this morning while I was walking to work. So
awesome.
It was pretty fun. So but no, that's why we have to thank Robert Smith of The Cure for taking on Ticketmaster and fighting these high prices with music. So
yes, thank you, Robert Smith.
That's what I was waiting for. So
and Eddie Vedder and all the others that came before you.
Right. All right. So a little Beach Boys action coming from you.
Yeah, I can't not.
Beautiful.
I think I just, like, as a precursor to this, I talked about it in the beginning, but I wrote our engineer that he just recently did and mixed the last Scissor song with me, Matt Allison. Yeah, that's, guy that I could go as a kid and record with, and already that's amazing. Like, you get to go into a studio, an actual studio, and record with a guy who did Alkaline Trio's God Damn It. Okay, already a lucky guy. And then you get to sit down afterwards and have some Busch Lights with him and talk about music. And we'd always talk about the Beach Boys. It's his favorite band. And Brian, and this is, I'm talking, and I was like probably 99, 2000, right around here at the beach. It was when I started recording. I mean, we recorded our first thing ever in 1998. We're the first band after Alkaline Trio to record, if you can believe that. But most of the stuff started, kind of the Scissor stuff was in 2004. And that's when I was able to drink, and we'd go out, or we would stay in the studio, and he'd play Beach Boys songs on the fucking monitors. And it sounded so great because it's a studio, and there was just so much magic in that, like all these stories about how much of a genius Brian Wilson was, and all of the great harmony things that I learned about through talking about this band. And really, like, what I wrote Matt this morning was, like, when I heard that he passed away, I was like, man, every, like, good memory that I have of the Beach Boys, I always think about you. When I'm listening to that band, I think about you. I think about the memories that we have, like, doing that, drinking beers and just talking music, and how much I love that, and recording music. And then I was like, well, all I can really feel is gratitude towards, like, a guy like Brian Wilson for, like, bringing those moments into my life and connecting me with other people, right? Really a beautiful thing. And then I was thinking about, well, what is my favorite Beach Boys song or Brian Wilson song? In 2004, he put out Smile finally, and there was a great DVD that went along with that about the making of. I don't know if you've ever seen that or not, but I can't remember the actual name of it, but it's really good. And Matt actually gave me, like, a copy of that back then. And there's this moment at the end of it where, like, you got Paul McCartney and Sir George Martin. They're in, like, they talked about the rivalry that was, like, happening at the time between the Beatles doing Sgt. Pepper, and how, like, Brian Wilson was so fucked up when he found out Sgt. Pepper came out, because he's like, he did this record before me. And I'm going on a tangent because there's so much to say about this band and the Beach Boys and Brian Wilson. But anyway, what would be my favorite Beach Boys song? And it is a song called Don't Talk, Put Your Head on My Shoulders by the Beach Boys from the album Pet Sounds. There's just something about that song to me. Close second would be Darlin', which is sang by his brother, Carl Wilson. It is, like, the most amazing melody and register that anybody's ever sang in. Trying to sing that second verse of Darlin' and trying to hit those notes is, like, almost near impossible. But that's a second. This is the first. Don't Talk, Put Your Head on My Shoulders, off of Pet Sounds. And it's just like, there's something about it. You got to hear the tune. I don't know if are you familiar with it?
I mean, Pet Sounds, I've definitely listened to multiple times. I would have to play it. I guarantee I've heard it multiple times. It's just,
not everybody's, I'm not hearing
it. I'm not hearing it in my head this second, but
not everybody's, like, first thought about what their favorite song would be from that record.
But I mean, Pet Sounds is by far their most popular album.
Yeah,
right?
I would think so. Yeah. So that's my tune, man. And, like, again, I don't know how to explain it other than it's airy, and it's got, like, this, like, build, and it's just, like, the idea of, like, don't talk, put your head on my shoulders. Like those moments when you're with somebody and you don't really need to say anything, and you just like, you're with somebody in their company and everything is perfect, and it's like you don't need to say anything, you know.
It's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, it's really a beautiful tune. Again, rest in peace, Brian Wilson. I knew that at one point, if I was lucky enough to live this long, I would have to deal with like some of my heroes passing away. And here we are with Brian Wilson passing away. I mean, in 2004, we saw Marlon Brando die. In 2008, we saw, which I thought was like the last movie star for real, Paul Newman, you know, pass away. I just see, you know, the longer we live, the longer we're going to see like people that we love, artists that we love pass away. And here we are today with Brian Wilson. So that's my pick of the week.
It's melancholy, but it's certainly a gift to be able to experience those artists and then enjoy them long enough to see their passing. So, you know,
yeah,
and give you a time to pay appreciation, like I said, celebration for his life rather than mourning it. So.
Yep. I know 100%. And yeah, here we are with like all of this art to like last. We talk about it on this podcast all the time. It's like these things live forever, you know?
No, 100%. That's the beauty of art in general. So,
yeah.
And that's why we talk movies and all things around it. So love it.
Well, great episode on the beach today. And we are really grateful for all of you people out there listening to our podcast. We're getting more and more comments. We're getting more and more subscribers to, again, it seems to be more so on YouTube, but also I have this Patreon now, and I can connect. I do a podcast on there just with like artists that I like. And we do have these great conversations just about art, you know. But also I'm able to connect remainders through that Patreon to just like, it's free. And, you know, people, if they're not aware now, know that I do remainders, and I've noticed an uptick in our Buzzsprout numbers due to that, because I think it's also open to people that aren't like following me or subscribing on. It's kind of like another social media in a way, but it's just like more artist forward. So I love it. There's like a lot more like avenues for people to find out about this podcast. And if you're out there and you've listened or you found us somewhere, thanks for sticking around and telling people about it, or just enjoying it. You know, just if you're sitting there on a plane, or you're sitting there in your room listening to it because The Beach is your favorite movie, and we appreciate it.
100%. Very much appreciate it. And yeah, if you're listening, if there are movies you want to hear us cover, feel free to throw them out, because we like a lot of stuff and we like talking about a lot of different things in movies. So
I think we also like being surprised of a movie we don't know about, you know?
Yeah. There's plenty to dig into, even with movies, you know, that are not, you know, our favorites of all time. That's the beauty of.
I think the thing that makes them more exciting is the fact that like somebody said, you should see this, that whenever you say that, I really put stock into it and watch it with a better focus than I would if I just watched it myself. Yeah.
The whole point of the podcast and us working in a video store is like being able to recommend people movies and turn them on to that shit. As a cinephile, that's like your favorite thing in the world. So,
yeah, which is why people gather in the cemetery, or they gather at the music box for like the music box of horrors, because it's like you're all the same, you know. Yep. And you just want to be around people that are the same, you know. It's fucking awesome.
Totally.
All right.
All right. Yeah, we do have. I will announce our next episode right now, because that's already locked in. So give a little teaser. So next episode for its 20th anniversary, they just announced, and this kind of solidified it was on my list to watch this year. They just announced it is going to be officially one of the Criterion Collection. So the 4K disc is going to be coming out for this. One of my favorite movies of the 2000s. I was obsessed with this movie. It's my number 2 Cronenberg movie of all time, and that is A History of Violence. So we're going to be watching that for the next episode. Oh my God. I was so hoping you had never seen it, even though like it's one you should have never seen. Yeah, this was absolutely one of my favorite movies when I saw it in theaters in 2005. Viggo Mortensen, absolutely one of my favorite David Cronenberg movies. Even though it's, you know, it feels, it's certainly not a body horror movie. So it doesn't always kind of get brought up first in his filmography, but I think it's absolutely one of his best movies. So
great. I can't wait. Well, hey, you heard it here first. You're going to have to come back and listen to us talk about that film in 2 weeks.
Hell yeah. Looking forward to it. Darren, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, my friend. And hey, talk to you next time.
See ya.
Bye.